Hi everybody, my name is Melissa Rojas and I'm an academic advisor here at STCC. The purpose of this video is to talk a bit more about what a program evaluation is, how to access it, and why it's one of the most important tools you have here as a student. A program evaluation is sometimes also referred to as a degree audit, and it's used to track your academic progress towards graduation. You're ultimately here to either get a certificate or to get a degree, so you need to make sure that you understand what are those requirements and how can I better plan for the semesters going forward so that way I graduate on time. Because of all that, it really should be reviewed frequently, as it's ultimately your responsibility to understand what's on it and how you measure up. But more specifically, program evaluation displays all the required courses that you need to complete in order to graduate. But it also lists the courses that you've already completed, when you completed them, and what were those final grades. And it does keep track of your GPA, how many credits you've earned, and how many more credits there are for you to finish. So let's get started. In order to get to your program evaluation, you need to first get to WebAdvisor. So before we go any further, you want to make sure you have your WebAdvisor login information, such as your username and your password. Okay. If you do not have those, you can contact the IT help desk by email at helpdesk@stcc.edu. So helpdesk@stcc.edu. Okay, so let's get started. To get into WebAdvisor, you want to go ahead and get to our main website, stcc.edu. Once you're here, you'll click on eTools and then you'll scroll down to WebAdvisor. You'll click, well, first, you want to log in. So you go ahead and click where it says login right here. You'll type in your username and your password and you'll press submit. Then you'll click on students. So this right here is the student landing dock for WebAdvisor. I'm sure most of you have already been into WebAdvisor. Usually it's for your student financial services section over here where you view your bill or you view your financial aid status, or perhaps you're waiving your health insurance. There's tons of really cool things and really good tools here for you to explore, so I definitely encourage you to get more familiar with WebAdvisor. But for today's video, we're going to focus just on program evaluation. So over here on the right-hand side where it says academic planning, you want to click into program evaluation. All right, so over here you want to click into program evaluation right here, pretty self-explanatory. All right, and so on this screen, you can see for this student, they have 2 active programs. So this is where it can be kind of tricky. In WebAdvisor, you're going to have a list of all the different degrees you basically have ever claimed. Not all of them are active, so it's important for you to know exactly which degree you're currently in. That's where it can kind of get tricky. Usually it's the top one, but not always. So you just want to make sure you're double checking. So for this student, he or she is currently a management student, so they would click here. One thing I do want to note is that, so say, this is a really interesting feature. Say that I was thinking about changing my major to criminal justice or general studies, but I don't know exactly what that's going to look like for me. This is a really neat feature down here where you can say, what if I change my program of study? You can go ahead and click into any major that you want and run an audit based off of that major. So you'll see exactly all the classes you've taken and how they apply to that new major before you officially talk to an advisor and before you officially declare that in the admissions office. But for today, we're just going to go ahead and follow along with the student's major right here. You'll click on the active program and then you'll press submit. Okay, so now after you press submit, you're here at your program evaluation. So let's talk about how to read it. Really quickly, you'll see your name, your student ID number up here on top, and what your degree and program is called. You also have a catalog year right here, and basically that's just the year that you officially declared or signed up for that major. That's just really important to note because degrees do tend to change over time. And so when someone maybe started a program in 2015, their requirements might be different than someone who's in 2019 or 2020 catalog year. And so it's just important to kind of pay attention to what your specific requirements are. It obviously will have your email address here as well. And down here, it will say a little bit more about who your advisor is, what division they work in, or what department they work in. Okay. Okay, so the next section that you're going to see is this program summary. This lists a little bit more information about your GPA and how many credits you have, how many credits you need. It's a lot of information right now, so we're going to come back to that. But if you keep scrolling down to where it says program requirements, generally speaking, most programs are chunked out into semesters. You'll see it right here where it says semester 1, semester 2, semester 3, and semester 4. These are really just kind of recommendations, and it's really nice to follow these recommendations because it allows classes to kind of flow a lot easier. But do keep in mind that these semester breakdowns are generally designed with full-time students in mind. Full-time students do take about 4, 5, and sometimes even 6 classes a semester, and it's totally okay if you're a part-time student and can't take all the classes that it suggests all at once. In fact, most people can't because it is a lot of classes. But if you are a part-time student or you kind of want to lessen your load a little bit, you just want to strategize a little bit more about what classes to take when. For instance, like English 101. English 101 and English 102 are sequential classes. You can't take English 102 until you're finished with English 101. So because that, you want to kind of think a little bit more about what classes you need now, so that way you don't get too far behind in the future. These are the sorts of conversations that you really want to have with your advisor, because each major is going to be a little bit different. The same thing with like stats. Statistics is going to have some prerequisites that might need some prep work first. The same things with all these accounting classes are kind of sequential as well. So you just want to spend some time with your advisor kind of figuring out which are more important for you to take when. But on the flip side, it's really nice when classes are broken down to these semester chunks, because say you're a student who's like, I need to be done in 2 years. You know exactly what you need to do each semester, so that way you're finished in 2 years. You would have to take all these classes each semester in order to make sure that you finish your degree on time. Okay? Let's spend some time looking at how things are coded into this program evaluation, because it can be kind of tricky at first. There's just a lot of different codes and labels for things. So if you see right here, generally speaking, anything that has this grade section filled out, it means that the class is completed. You can kind of verify that too, because it also will list the term that you took that class, okay? This student got an A- and got an A in statistics, but you'll see there's a T for management and this English 101 course. That just means that a student transferred that class in. So they took it at a different school and they were able to bring that class credit here. So they didn't finish the class here, they didn't get a final grade here, but it did transfer over, so they don't have to obviously take that class over again. So it's also dictated, you can also see this TE, that means transfer equivalent. So that means that that student doesn't have to take it again. So anything with a grade or like a listed out term means you don't have to take that again. But you'll see right here where it says under financial accounting, 1 course needed. Pretty literal. That just means that the class hasn't been attempted or hasn't been finished. So they need to sign up for that class and finish that class. Okay, so that's 1 class that they're going to need. Down here, you'll see 2. You'll see that they also need this other accounting class and finance, but they have completed or they transferred in accounting composition 2 in this calculus class. With this example, I don't see any registrations or any classes in progress, so they're not a current student. This evaluation will also show you classes that you are currently taking, and what will happen is something kind of similar to the transfer section here, but it'll say IP for in progress. So that means you're currently taking that class this semester, okay? For classes that you're pre-registered for, so say we're about to go into registration season and you're taking classes, or you're signed up for classes that begin in the future, and they'll be labeled into your program evaluation as a PR for pre-register. You can find those codes, again, if you scroll all the way down, it will be right here in this note section, PR for pre-registered and IP for in progress. Okay. I'll talk a little bit more about electives. So electives are classes that you have choices in. Some majors are very flexible, like general studies. You have a section called general electives, and a general elective is honestly any 3-credit class you want to take, whether it be an art class, a music class, a language class, philosophy, math, anything will fit a general elective requirement. However, some majors are very specific. Like this will say here, you need 1, psychology or sociology. So you have the choice. And in this case, the student took psychology. A lab science elective means you need a 4-credit science with a lab. So generally that's a chemistry class or a biology class. And it's got to be a 4-credit biology or chemistry or physics course, okay? Business electives is where it gets a little tricky in some ways because it's a restricted elective. And again, talking things over with your advisor is probably the best thing that you can do. But you'll find a lot of notes up here where it says a little more information about what can fulfill that. And here it says, in a 200 level business elective or business 151. So those are some of the classes that you can take to fulfill that requirement right there. Science elective is any 3-credit science. Generally speaking, that's nutrition. It's bio 115. There's also a biochem class and usually some other kind of courses to choose from as well. The section right here where it says humanities elective, it does say this student should take 3 humanities electives. Humanities include art, a theater, a foreign language, music, speech, philosophy, literature, or business ethics course. So usually your program evaluation will have some more information about what are appropriate electives, but when in doubt, this is what your advisor is here for, is to kind of make sure that things are going to fulfill those requirements for you. So when in doubt, ask your advisor, okay? Another type of elective that you might see would be like a social science elective, and usually that's like a sociology, a psychology, or a history. I think economics as well is another social science elective. So you have tons of different options, and again, talking to your advisor is really helpful. You'll see at the bottom, you'll see classes that are under the other courses. So these are courses that the student has attempted, transferred in, finished, withdrawn from. These are all courses that they've taken that don't fit into the program evaluation. It's never a good thing to have tons of classes in this other courses section. You really want to keep that to a minimal because that just means that you've taken a class that you ultimately don't need. But sometimes that does happen when you've withdrawn from a class, or you've taken a course that is outside your major, or maybe you've changed your mind and changed your major or transferred in some classes that aren't relevant to you anymore. Okay, so it does happen, but you want to try to avoid it. All right, so I know it's been a long video, so I'm going to keep this last little piece about the program summary super short. But overall, it's really, most important that you pay attention to these 2 columns here, the required and the current earned. Required means how many credits are required to get your degree. In this case, you need a total of 62, and you need an overall GPA of at least a 2.0 in order to graduate. This student has currently earned 48 credits of the 62, so they're well over halfway towards getting their degree. and they have a 3.7. So their GPA is definitely great, and they're in good shape to graduate and finish up at STIC. Thank you so much for spending 15 minutes with me reviewing program evaluations. If you have any questions, please reach out to your advisor. Best of luck. Take care.